Welcome back to SALT, our School of Accountable Living, Timing and Earning. The last episode, we were talking about money as number 4 in your set of values for a successful life on planet Earth, in accordance with the Hector principle of love your woman, honor your God, defend your country. Today, we're going to see systems that are both political and economic. Now, politics wants control over everything, and so we will always hook onto an economic system. Human beings have always tried their best to control others, created all kinds of systems, caste systems, and so on, serfs and nobles, and disparities. In all civilizations, we've always found minds, people that rose from the degraded castes in the society, the people that others look down on, and people rose from there to be a rule, to be great inventors, to be people of substance, people of that solve problems, more like engineers. You know what I call an engineer? An engineer is that part of you that solves problems without creating more problems. That's the engineer. Today we are seeing economic systems. Somehow they're political systems. 3 we are looking at today is capitalism, socialism or communism. That's socialism, and then communalism. To make it snappy, we know capitalism is all about profit. Every capitalist simply wants to make more profit, and all their principles are created to support why they should make more profit, whether by hook or by crook, whether by honest deals or by shady deals. Now, capitalism, when in its extreme, undermines spirituality and undermines the social aspect of man, which is the society, the community in which he lives. One poser I have for capitalism today is, why is every rich man on earth, every wealthy person on earth is sustained by the poor? If the poor are not needed in the ecosystem, the poor are dispensable, then the wealth of the sugar merchants, the energy merchants, that's the fuel, diesel, and so on, the salt merchants, the flour merchants, that's those that sell food, the food merchants, importing and exporting food all over the world, and they are making so much. Even the merchants of our airtimes, that's called credit. These are the richest industries on earth. And who are the people paying for services and goods in these industries? The poor eat more than the rich. The poor will make more calls on the mobile phones than the rich, or the rich of the world put together. The poor will use more data. The poor will use more fuel in transportation. The poor will use more fuel even in their utilizing of generating sets. In conclusion, the rich are sustained by the poor, even economically. Now let's look at socialism. Socialism says hand over every system of production to the state. Very beautiful. In ideology, it is the perfect system. But in practice, we've seen this corruption is quite harder to control than the capitalist corruption. Corruption in capitalism, in a free world, somehow is easier to tame than corruption in socialist environments. In socialist environments, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, the leadership of socialist countries are usually absolute in their powers. And When corruption sets in, the corruption is usually almost absolute. Now, how about communalism? I opened my Google and search of the meaning of communalism, and one of the first descriptions I got was a way of preaching tribe, preaching, being bigoted, preaching one's nuclear identities at the expense of others that normally give rise to tribal sentiments against other tribes, give rise to tensions, give rise to clashes. That's not what I was taught in school about communalism. Communalism is about elevation of the idea of community, elevation of, because our identity comes from the community. Our identity comes from the community in such a way that in my own country, Nigeria, people that do not see beyond their nose, do not see beyond their community. Once they see anyone from outside their community, that person is more like an alien. They find it difficult to associate with the person or to align or to even ever agree with that person. But there are people who see their state as their community. And so once you are from any part of the state, they can reason with you. And some others are more nationalistic in their outlook, and as long as you are Nigerian, they can reason with you because their community is actually Nigeria. Every other thing to them is a family. The fact that they're Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa is more like this is my family, but my community is what? Nigeria. But that is communalism. In communalism, you are looking at allowing the people the freedom to both assert themselves as an identity and at the same time control means of production. To me, that's the ideal one because it supports my cooperative ideology. It is the best. A human being should not be forced to be rich or poor. A human being should be allowed to make his choice, to retain as much wealth as guarantees his health and happiness. The three economic systems that we've looked at just right now, capitalism, socialism, and communalism, none of them is completely bad. But the human being, the living soul is not just a material. So if we go with capitalism and its materialistic tendencies, the living soul will be starved. If we go with socialism and yes, enthroning the society, having the society own everything together, everything owned together by everybody is still entrusted by a few called the state, or managers of the state. And by the time corruption sets in, controlling the corruption is usually very, very, very difficult. Now, when it comes to communalism is more like free range kind of a thing. You wonder, how do you want me to control the populace when I have no control on their economy, I have no control on their religion, I have no control on. You don't need to control those things to control the people. When we are true to ourselves, when we are true to an agreed direction, definitely everyone will key in to make sure that we move in that direction. But when we are not true, means we have lost faith in ourselves, in our capacity to bear rule by love. Human beings want to be loved. Human beings do not want to be controlled. Human beings want to be loved into being their best and giving their best to the community. Human beings do not want to be forced into it. So, in communalism, we make the decision to go in a particular direction, come from inside every one of us. And so together we are marching with equal passion, we are marching with equal convictions that this is what we want to achieve. In our next video, we'll be learning more about how this particular idea of communalism, having my full identity, as well as having the materials to support my ability, to enhance my ability to love my woman, to honor my God, and to defend my country. Thank you.